Foreign object warning. Looks like a defect. Take him in. Is that a weapon?
I don't think so.
I think he's resisting.
Well, this came out of nowhere. Have you ever listened to a song you loved at any point in your life and pictured how cool it'd be to see a fight scene or a boss battle set in sync to that tune? Well, someone went and made a game to do exactly that. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm action game made by Tango Gameworks and published by Bethesda. Tango Gameworks, the creators of The Evil Within, made this. And it's incredible.
Bring it on.
While Tango is known for being the home of the legendary Shinji Mikami, Hi-Fi Rush is directed by John Johannes, someone who deserves no small amount of praise because he was also the director of The Evil Within 2, an amazing and criminally ignored gem of a game, probably because the first was kind of frustrating and misshapen, but 2 was an absolute blast to play, and has one of the most memorable climaxes I've ever seen in games. It's not entirely unexpected for a developer known for horror to jump into a quirky action game. After all, Shinji Mikami did that himself once, and made one of the best games ever. But God Hand can wait its turn while we dive into this colourful wonder. You play as Chai, a dorky loser who suffers a minor robotics accident that implants his MP3 player. Do they still make separate MP3 players? I'm genuinely asking, I just store everything on my phone. Inside his chest. This, somehow, makes him stronger, and allows him to kick robot butts so long as he stays in time with the beat. Helpful, as the company considers him a defect as he steps out of spec. Only way out of this wacky factory is blasting through all the corporate bosses one by one. So let's hit it. The game plays like a 3D action platformer, reminiscent of the PS2 or Dreamcast era, in more ways than one. You get thrown into combat arenas, beat everyone up, move through the levels to get to the next fight, with some variety thrown in to spice things up. There's a good amount of platforming to do between bouts, and while it's not exactly Mario Odyssey, I really appreciated the commitment to going all out with the platforming challenges. Plus, there's hidden areas to find upgrades and more currency to spend bettering yourself. Publishers may tell you that gamers want battle passes and loot systems, but the truth is, real gamers just want breakable boxes filled with currency. My monkey brain loves this. I see the boxes, I smash the boxes. Simple as that. None of this touches onto the game's main gimmick though, so it's time to talk about that sweet rhythm action. Now, the concept of timing your actions to the beat in a game isn't new, but it's worth mentioning what a great fit a character action game is for this format. Everything moves to the beat in this game. All of your attacks, each footstep that you make, even your jumps. Just boom, one after the other. So nailing the beat and pulling off a combo feels great. But also everything else in this world is moving to the beat as well. Everything popping and moving with the music does mean it's pretty easy to stay in time. You can turn on a metronome if you want, but I never felt I needed it with all of this here. My prompts were all around me. Enemies are also locked to the beat, and that's where this whole thing really clicks, as you can time when their attacks will pop off and land so you can avoid them easily. You start off with a simple dodge to get out the way, but you unlock a parry a few levels later that really takes advantage of this. Just tap the parry button in time with the hit and you suck up all damage, and are ready to hit back at them. Simple, but incredibly satisfying, especially as you're timing all of this to the beat again. The game does have some tricks to mix things up though. There's a grappling hook to help keep the pace up, which is fun. Sometimes the game really switches up and it's a bit like playing Parappa the Rapper, though if you try freestyling here, you're likely going to be kicked off the stage.
This'll be easy.
While there's only one weapon, you have a good amount of moves and variation that you can pull off, including beat hits after combos, special attacks that come in a few different forms, and pulling in help from your teammates. Sometimes you need someone else to smash a shield of some kind before you can properly damage an enemy, though you have a few other tactics you can use if you're tricky enough. As well as judging you on the beat, the game's also judging you for how stylish you are in the true spectacle fighter fashion, punishing you for repeating moves and rewarding you for getting the hit combo high and chaining together combos. When you hit S rank, you can hear the crowd cheering for you, and oh, it's just great. It feels really cool. But remember, you've got to do all of this to the beat if you want to get the most out of it. It's a tricky balance, but the two end up working well together. I might be better at the action than I am the rhythm stuff though. I'm a bit of a B. As in, could be better. Actually, I don't think I ever got S rank on timings, which is sad, because that means I would never achieve the dream of making the ranking system spell ass. Abs is just... it's not the same. But I persevered through the game alright, considering my own musical impairments, and it probably helps that the soundtrack is pretty great. There's a ton of original songs made for the game that have clear and distinct beats for you to follow, which is nice, but then the game pulls out some licensed tracks for some bigger moments that really hit home hard. Unfortunately, I can't play any of them for you, because then YouTube will copyright exterminatus me. Look, just take it from me, it's really cool. Just trust me. Like, this boss where they play 1 Million by 9 Inch Nails and the whole fight is synced to the instruments? Just trust me, it's good, it's really great. It's easy to explain and pretty easy to pick up, but fairly difficult to master. Good luck to anyone who wants to S-rank the whole game, that'll probably take a lot of tries. Then again, the game is banking on you replaying it, as you'll likely find tons of doors and paths you can't open until you revisit them with a power you get from a later stage. Plus, upgrades in the shop are quite expensive, so you likely won't have maxed yourself out by the time you hit the credits. Hell, there's an in-depth chip system that I didn't feel like I got the most mileage out of while playing on hard, but I feel it could be crucial while playing on higher difficulties, although the upgrade to give me health on perfect parries was very much appreciated. There's reasons to keep playing and building yourself up after beating the game, besides playing it all again, like with a Bloody Palace styled mode that you can unlock, and optional challenges to beat. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of replay value here. There's even more dialogue to find afterwards. And that's a good enough transition to talk about the story, the writing, and the characters. What better way to start than to bring up the fact that I almost didn't buy this game, because during the reveal at Microsoft's Developer Direct thing, some marketing executive thought this would be a great introduction to the game.
Yep, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Well, it's pretty standard.
Wow, a tired old meme about a tired old trope. What a great way to sell me on this game that insists it's full of youthful energy. I hated this, and I knew a lot of people who also hated this. It's a good job that the rest of the demonstration sold me on the game. I went through and played the entire game and found that this moment isn't actually in the game. It's just an addition for the marketing. One they probably should have dropped, to be honest, because the writing in the game isn't bad. Chai himself is a giant loser douchebag, but his heart's in the right place. He's cocky, but not an arsehole. Plus, he's almost always getting the crap beaten out of him, which I think helps endear himself to me. Is it because I wish harm on him, and that wish is getting fulfilled? Do I find it funny when the stupid man falls down? Is the monkey brain back again? Either way, he's not as insufferable as the trailer made him out to be. He is very uncomplicated though. Everyone around him gets fleshed out with motivations and a backstory for why they're here and working to defeat this evil corporation, but Chai is exactly as simple as he seems. Dude just wants to be a rock star. I mean, fair enough, I'm surprised is all.
Says rock star here. Do you even actually play guitar?
Well,
one thing that helps the game's charm is that the entire world is crazy and exaggerated. It's much more bearable to have a protagonist who's a bit of a goober if the world that they're in is cartoonish as well, filled with caricatures of corporate bosses, jokey comedy robots, and a transforming cat mascot, who I love. It makes all the pieces fit really well, rather than having them being locked in a serious world with serious characters, but they're the only ones not taking it seriously. Anyway, your teammates also play a bit more of a straight man role in the comedy, which probably helps things stay grounded and keeps the plot moving. If this was a gang of clowns, I don't think anything would get done in the story. The writing's good for what it's trying to be. Simply put, it made me laugh more than a few times. There are genuinely some good jokes in the game, and it keeps up a frantic and stylish pace, so any stinkers don't linger for too long before you get back to battling beatbots.
Crazy! Looks like we found our AI.
This is a screensaver, Jay.
The game also has a wry meta-humor that comes across quite cheeky, such as the entire R&D section for the game, which just feels like all the developers got to sound off about how much of a nightmare it is making games. Also, if you quit a level midway through and load the game back up, you'll appear back in your hideout where you do your upgrading and stuff, and for each level in the game, there's unique dialogue asking why we're back there when we were in the middle of a dangerous caper. Not only is this some fun fourth wall breaking, I just want to say I appreciate the effort. And none of this is even going into the game's very particular parodies, which are so specific, I feel I'm getting a real insight into Mr. Johannes' mind. This isn't even the weirdest one. If you've played, you know the one I'm on about. I don't have much to say about the wider plot because it's quite simple. You're a youthful rockstar wannabe who takes out the boring corporate overlords with your spunky rebel energy. It's hardly breaking new boundaries, and it doesn't have too many surprises, but it's a simple story told well. What more could you want? I have some minor criticisms. I struggled with a kind of sensory overload on two of the bosses in the game. I just had way too much to focus on and wasn't able to catch the beat anymore, which led to some difficulty. I didn't have this problem anywhere but two of the bosses on hard. One took me quite a few tries, but I did it in the end, I guess? It's not that big a problem because overall the whole package is solid. Hi-Fi Rush is an excellent, shocking, rocking surprise, and I kind of love it. It wins me over with its slick style and catchy gameplay. If Game Pass can continue letting developers make their dream games, and they turn out this well, then frankly, that's all good by me. If you don't have Game Pass, the game is also pretty cheap for a new release. Half as much as some others, and I really recommend checking it out if it looks like your thing. We don't get games like this from the AAA space too often anymore. Games that feel like they were born out of a passion, out of a wild idea to give people something new. Games that feel like games. That alone is worth celebrating.
Are you done?
Yes?
Phew, I'm no longer horribly ill. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to my Patreons. Why not consider becoming a Patreon? Get access to exclusive content, updates on what I'm working on, and get to ask questions during credit sections, which we'll do right now. Are you a morning person or a night person? I'm not terrible in the mornings, but definitely a night person. Most of that probably comes down to needing to stay up to be able to hang out with some friends, due to time zones. But I also used to roam around the streets in the evenings back when I was studying at university. I preferred those vibes to the dead daylight mornings. What's your favourite food? And please don't say fried chicken and chips. Oh god. All examples that come to mind are like comfort fast food. That said, I went somewhere once and had the best burger I ever had in my life. It had chorizo, aioli, caramelized onions, a really thick patty, and it was incredible. I didn't have a burger hierarchy until I had that burger. and it topped it. I just absolutely loved it. But I don't want to name where I got that burger because I had it a few years later and something was off about it. It was good, but not the mind-blowing burger I had fallen in love with. I saw other people say the same thing about this burger, so maybe they changed it to cut costs. But in my restless dreams, I see that burger. That's all for now. See you next time.